Hey everybody, my name is Daisy Daniel. I'm a personal resilience life coach here in Palm Beach County, coming to you live every Thursday and Monday at 12 p.m. to do a Facebook Live on the book, The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. If you're not familiar with this book is highly recommended by me. It has to do with codependency and a lot of the issues we deal with on a daily basis in relationships with people, with our coworkers. The root problem could be one of codependency. And that's why I wanted to bring this live to help you guys. So those of you that will be joining me today or later on today on the replay, leave me a comment if there's something you want me to talk more about, expound on. And I'm extra excited about today because there's a quote that I heard recently. I can't tell you who wrote it, but I heard this quote and I thought it was so true. Things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And I'm a big believer that things that happen are either to teach us something or to grow us, and also just to have past history and learn from them. So a couple of months ago, my cottage where I live flooded. There was a hose in the bathroom that just busted in the middle of the night and water went all over the cottage. It was a big ordeal, packing everything up, putting everything away. The landlord came and put in new carpet, and it was just a big, big ordeal. Well, guess what? This morning, the same hose broke again. And my door, which is right there, if you were to walk in there, everything is wet. All my stuff, the carpet, you name it. It's like reliving the whole traumatic experience all over again. And I thought to myself, wow, how can that happen? This lightning strike twice in the same place? Does it? Well, I could say in my case, it does. Will it happen a third time? I sure hope not. And I had to really just stop. Of course, I called my landlord. It was like 4 a.m. and just reflect and think about how this happened, why it happened. And so because I had this prepared today, it's very easy to cancel things that you give your word that you're going to do, to cancel when stressful things happen, even traumatic things like this. I consider this highly traumatic when your home is having to be uprooted. When I just went through that a couple of months ago, it's a highly traumatic experience, and it's easy to just put things off that you were supposed to do. But I'm learning to keep my word to myself. And I like it when people keep their word and they follow through and they do what they're supposed to do. So trying to role model that for you, and also for myself, role model that for me. So my relationship with God has always been that He speaks in different ways. He speaks to me through people. He speaks through me through situations, through things I read, in ways that you least expect. Sometimes when I was a teacher or a substitute recently here, I would show up at a school that I've never been to, and certain kids would gravitate towards me and say certain things that would just make my day, would just uplift me, would speak to me on very deep levels, and actually would create content for me just by them being available and speaking words of life into my spirit. And you never know who God is going to use. So I know that because today is kind of a very different day for me. It's a day that will go down in history in my brain. I know that what I'm going to read, which I have no idea what I'm going to read, but I know that it's going to speak to me on some level. And there's never a day that goes by that I don't learn something. And I think that's important to every day, face your day, open to learn something, open to also help others where you can with the gifts that God has given you. I had picked a nice, pretty location over there because I really do live in paradise. But it's so cloudy right now. It looks like it's going to rain. And my porch, if you can see it, is filled with carpets and all the towels we use to dry everything. So I'm looking at chaos right now. But that's okay, because I know that this time is special. And I know what I'm going to read is going to bless me. So I'm excited. And then when I'm done, I'll get back to work. You know, work will always be there for you, people. Always. But it's good to take a deep breath. So let's take a deep breath right now. And be open to the message that God has for you, whatever that is for today. Here we go. I am going to be reading from page 114 in the book, The Language of Letting Go. Okay, this one is entitled Initiating Relationships. Initiating Relationships. I'm going to put on my glasses, if I need to. All right, let's see what we have for today. Initiating relationships. Often we can learn much about ourselves from the people to whom we are attracted. As we progress through recovery, we learn we can no longer form relationships solely on the basis of attraction. We learn to be patient, to allow ourselves to take into account important facts, and to process information about that person. Okay, that's good. What we are striving for in recovery is a healthy attraction to people. We allow ourselves to be attracted to who people are, not to their potential or to what we hope they are. The more we work through our family of origin issues, the less we will find ourselves needing to work through them with the people we're attracted to. Finishing our business from the past helps us form new and healthier relationships. Wow, is that true? That's very true. The more we overcome our need to be excessive caretakers, the less we will find ourselves attracted to people who need to be constantly taken care of. The more we learn to love and respect ourselves, the more we will become attracted to people who will love and respect us and who we can safely love and respect. This is a slow process. We need to be patient with ourselves. The type of people we find ourselves attracted to does not change overnight. Being attracted to dysfunctional people can linger long and well into recovery. That does not mean we need to allow it to control us. The fact is, we will initiate and maintain relationships with people we need to be with until we learn what it is we need to learn, no matter how long we've been recovering. No matter who we find ourselves relating to and what we discover happening in the relationship, the issue is still about us and not about the other person. That is the heart, the hope, and the power of recovery. We can learn to take care of ourselves during the process of initiating and forming relationships. We can learn to go slowly. We can learn to pay attention. We can allow ourselves to make mistakes, even when we know better. We can stop blaming our relationships on God and begin to take responsibility for them. We can learn to enjoy the healthy relationships and remove ourselves more quickly from the dysfunctional ones. We can learn to look for what's good for us instead of what's good for the other person. All right, now I'm going to say the little prayer here at the bottom. So this one was kind of a longer passage. Normally they're a little shorter, but it had a lot of good stuff in there, and we're going to touch on that. All right, so here's the prayer. God, help me pay attention to my behaviors during the process of initiating relationships. Help me take responsibility for myself and learn what I need to learn. I will trust that the people I want and need will come into my life. I understand that if a relationship is not good for me, I have the right and ability to refuse to enter into it, even though the other person thinks it may be good for him or her. I will be open to the lessons I need to learn about me in relationships, so I am prepared for the best possible relationships with people. Okay, this is very interesting because one of the things I've been reflecting on a lot recently has been relationships. And I'm now, I've been on this 7-year journey of healing, getting stronger, helping other people, and continuing to help myself because, a life coach has not arrived. A life coach, even therapists, even people with doctorates, they have their own issues. Don't think for a minute that they have arrived and they have no problems, they have nothing they need to work on. That is just simply not true. On this side of heaven, there is no perfection. There's nobody who's perfect. There's nobody who has it all together, right? So I have been thinking a lot about relationships, and I notice sometimes, like on Facebook, you'll see a post that will come up that will say something to the fact of, I'm going to clean out my Facebook. If you really like my post, let me know, or I'm just going to, delete you. And I always thought that was kind of rough, to put a post like that. This is the way I look at it. If you're not enjoying what you're seeing in other people's posts, you get a bad feeling, you don't like it, it makes you frustrated, it triggers you in some way, unfriend, just unfriend, really. You don't have to be exposed to things that you don't want to see. First of all, you have control of what you watch, what you allow in your brain, into your heart. And here we're talking about relationships, initiating relationships. So initiating, of course, means being the one that's the leader and reaches out to other people. And I've always been a very social person. I've always, try to make friends, reach out to people, and try to connect with them in different ways. They don't always reciprocate. They don't always extend that welcome that I'm giving them. They don't always extend that back, and that's okay. That's my sign to me that, what I thought was going to be a closer relationship here is not what I thought, and so I just move on. But what she's getting at with relationships is that when you've been a codependent, it's very easy to continually look for people that are dysfunctional because that is what you're used to. That is what you're used to. So to change that paradigm in your mind, to change your behavior, you have to really reflect and be cautious with who you're trying to connect with, okay? So let me go back. I'm going to read the sections I underlined, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then I'm going to see if anybody has anything they want to say. All right, it says, as we progress through recovery, we learn we can no longer form relationships solely on the basis of attraction. And when she says attraction, of course, we all think of physical attraction, but I think also we could be attracted by people's personality, the way they come across, the way they just carry themselves, and we're just attracted to them for some reason. But it shouldn't be solely on the basis of attraction. We need to take into consideration important facts and process information about that person. And let me tell you, you could be in a friendship, let's say, for years and years and years and think you know somebody, and the fact is you really don't, and many times with a codependent person, they might think they're getting into a really good relationship with somebody, and they think they did their homework, dotted all their I's and crossed their T's, and then after they've been married, once the person conquers you and they have you, then you see all the true little colors coming out, and you're like, whoa. You see all the red flags, you see everything that you wish you had paid more attention to. And so, even the number of years of knowing somebody isn't enough. You have to, and I understand sometimes you have to take risks, but you have to be really careful when it comes to marriage, because the last thing you want to do is be in a marriage that's abusive, and because then you can't grow, you're not effective, the other person's not effective, you really can't be their helper, you can't do a whole lot. All right, so let's keep reading. We allow ourselves to be attracted to who people are, not to their potential or what we hope they are. Okay, so what she's saying is, go into a relationship knowing that they're gonna be flawed, knowing that they have weaknesses, know what those weaknesses are, and don't go into the relationship thinking that you could change them, because you're not. You're not going to change them. People have to want to change themselves, and until they want to do that and actually do the work to do it, they're not going to change. And changing yourself is a lot of work. Not only does it cost money, by hiring life coaches, hiring therapists, doing whatever it is you do to recover, going to, different programs, paying for programs. It costs a lot of money, it costs a lot of time, and it costs a lot of mental training, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're of the mentality that, we have one life, I'm going to have fun. If you don't like it, there's the door, and they're not going to work on it. And you could pray and pray and pray, and many times God does answer prayers like that, but there are times where those prayers go unanswered, and the people never change. They never change, and it's a very sad thing. Very sad thing. All right. Then I underlined here, the more we overcome our need to be excessive caretakers, because remember, codependents are concerned about controlling other people and less concerned about taking care of themselves. They really don't take care of themselves, and they don't have healthy relationships with people. People take advantage of them, and that doesn't mean they don't have good intentions. They have very good intentions. It's just the way they're wired, and maybe their upbringing and the lack of training. I'm just now, and I'm in my 50s, studying codependency on a deeper level. I mean, I studied it in college when I did my psych work and for my degree and things like that, but I'm starting to really study it at a deeper level, because I think if you could get at the root of a lot of these issues, you could solve a lot of problems, especially with relationships. It says, being attracted to dysfunctional people can linger long and well into recovery. And that's true. That's true, because you have formed patterns that are not easy to break. And, someone who's been in an abusive relationship, someone else could scream at them and they just think it's normal, they don't bat an eye about it. They're used to that kind of treatment. So, they look for people. They actually look for people that they could feel comfortable that will do the same thing. And so, you find yourself being attracted to, the quote bad guys, the ones that are how you would think of a bad guy, a lot of women are attracted to guys like that. And I would say not even the bad guys. There are some that are very quiet and very nice and all that, and some of those sometimes are the absolute worst as well. So it's not even a temperament thing sometimes. It really takes a lot of wisdom and to be mature enough to really wait and get premarital counseling. That is something I highly recommend. I didn't do it, and I regret that. But get a lot of premarital counseling, and then if you do end up getting married and you start noticing things that are not healthy, nip it in the bud really quick. That's for marriage. Here is talking about relationships just overall. So whether it's at work, at church, at home, you obviously want to be in relationships. No man is an island. All right, let's see here. No matter who we find ourselves relating to and what we discover happening in the relationship, the issue is still about us and not about the other person. So, if you go into a relationship wanting certain things from people, you're already going to struggle, because they're not going to give you everything you need. They're just not, And marriage is supposed to complement each other. So the two people are supposed to complement each other and their weaknesses. And where one is strong, the other one is weak. So that person helps the other and vice versa. But what happens when you're in a relationship and they don't want your help? They don't want your input. They don't care about that. They think they're fine. They think they're fine for years and years and years, and nothing changes. Okay. And you try to change them. Well, you're being a codependent. And that is at the root of all abusive relationships. That's what you need to think about. All right. So the issue lies with us. It's not about them. Because we're the ones that got into it. We're the ones that got into the relationship. We're the ones that married them. Okay? It's never too late to change things. And people could change. I do believe that. But just know, not everyone changes. All right, here, we can learn to enjoy the healthy relationships and remove ourselves more quickly from the dysfunctional ones. All right, there's a book that when I first started going to therapy, when I first separated, it's called Boundaries. And actually I started reading the book before I separated. And a lot of the friction came because I started to set boundaries for myself. And, people who are controlling you don't like boundaries. And so you, as a codependent, or even if you don't think you're a codependent, to have healthy relationships, you have to have healthy boundaries as well, and draw that line in the sand. And I've had to do that many times on my journey to healing and my journey helping other people. And, for the life coaches out there, you don't have to work with everybody. If you have a client that you don't think it's a good fit for you, nowhere does it say you have to work with a client. You could tell them, listen, I hear what you're saying, I know what your needs are, but I think this life coach over here would be a better fit for you, and refer them out. I love to collaborate with other life coaches, because I don't assume for a minute that my style is going to help everybody and that everybody's going to love me, or that I'm going to love them. A coaching relationship is a very close relationship, and it has to work for both the client and the coach. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well. You have options. You always have options. I actually have that on my desk with a hashtag, because Codependents many times get in this frame of mind where they think things have to be a certain way, and it'll always be that way, and it won't change, and I have to stay in this situation. No. You always have options to make changes in your life, to draw a line, a boundary, and you have that freedom. So always remember, you have options. Okay. Let's see. I wrote a little note here on the side. We're talking about relationships, and I think I mentioned it in the last video that psychologists say that 80% of families are dysfunctional. If you stop and think about that, that's pretty incredible that it's that high. And it really shouldn't be that high. It doesn't leave a lot of hope for the younger generation, those coming after us. And even, for people who are single and divorced, when you're looking at 20% of people raised in a healthy environment, how are you going to find that 20%? It's scary. It's a scary thought for my children. It's just a scary thought. But I think you need to know what you want and be relentless in looking for that, even if that means being alone for a while or a long time. It's better to be alone than to be with a dysfunctional person that's treating you bad and causing you all kind of distress and causing you to go backwards instead of forwards. So keep that in mind. And then in the prayer it said, I will trust that the people I want and need will come into my life. I remember for many, many years, praying for a mentor. And I always wanted a mentor. I heard of mentors. I thought, wow, that would be so cool to have a mentor. But guess what? The mentor never came. They never came. But keeping hope alive is important. So what she's saying here is, I will trust, she's praying this to God, right? I will trust that the people I want and that I need will come into my life. And your support system doesn't have to be huge. If you have one person who believes in you, you are blessed. You really are. Because most people are self-absorbed and into their own life, and they don't really take time out to support, other people and make them feel loved and all that. So if you have one person that supports you, consider yourself very blessed. And also, think about, if you're a healthy person, think about being a mentor for someone else. Everybody needs mentors. Just like everybody needs a life coach. Everybody needs mentors. And there was a little season a couple years ago where I gave up on the notion of ever having a mentor. I thought, you know what, they just don't exist. I came up with that conclusion. But the fact is, they do exist. And just because I haven't gotten it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So stay hopeful and pray for those people that are supposed to be in your life to be in your life. Because we need people, we need relationships, and they're not always going to be the people that you expect. And that's something we read in this book a few lessons back. You can see it on my website or on YouTube, but God doesn't always bring it in a tidy package the way we expect it. And I could tell you from my life that is certainly the case. And then I said, I will be open to the lessons I need to learn about me in relationships, so that I am prepared for the best possible relationships with people. And yes, that is always the best thing you could do, is to work on yourself, so that in the future, when God brings those people into your life, you can be strong, you can help them, You could be a support to them. You could be a really good friend. And they'll be that to you. They will be that to you as well. So this was very good. I learned a lot. It gave me some very good reminders. It reminded me that there are still good people out there, and to be focused on looking for those people that are going to support me, and also be that person for other people. Don't just expect that for you. Ask yourself, am I doing this for others? Am I being a support for others? Am I there when they need you? Ask yourself those questions as well, and it will help with the relationships. So this was good. I'm not going to see what the next title is because it's going to be a surprise. So please, let me see if anybody is on live right now. I know it's lunchtime. It's not always the best time, but it's what works for me. If there's anyone listening to this, whoa, my pen just flew. Listening to this lesson and you'd like to leave a comment, go ahead and we could talk about it a little more. So I'll give you a little bit of time to type anything if you have anything to say. If you're hearing this on the replay or on YouTube, always remember that you can leave comments at any time and I will eventually answer them. All right? I hope this helps you in some way. It has helped me. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I got a lot of work to do right on the other side of that door. So you guys have a great day. God bless. Love you. Bye.